I'm Ryan Rabel, I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas. Thank you for coming. This week, 9 individuals, including well-known musical artists, kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
8 of the 9 were arrested yesterday in Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville. These individuals who were charged and arrested include Lontrell Williams Jr., also known as Pooh Shiesty, Lontrell Williams Sr.,
Well, I guess that, I was with Pooh Shiesty on this should make him the face of the Nike Shiesty. I guess that's how to win, all right?
Rodney Wright Jr., also known as Big 30, Kadarius Waters, Demarion Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, Corday Johnson, Darian McDaniel, and Terrence Rogers has not been arrested yet, but will be soon. The complaint alleges that on January 10th of this year, 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas.
Now, I hate that I'm pausing it a little bit, but January 10th, again, if we're thinking about the timing of all this, when did First Day Out drop? We should think about that because we're going to have to figure out the narrative later on. First Day Out, that was dropped in December. So what probably happens, chat, is that they haven't been, this happens a lot. This is why Bobby Shmurda had to get off Epic. A rapper gets locked up, the label is out of sight, out of mind. They're not going to still send money to your mama, to your daddy, to everybody who's with you. And if your account in terms of music, if that dries up and they don't have a lot of money there, they're not going to reinvest into an artist that's incarcerated. So you know what usually happens, chat? That artist feels away. It's like how Blueface said.
I didn't know you could do that.
Remember, you know how Blueface said he can't forgive one of his baby mamas because she wasn't there for him. So Pooh Shiesty probably gets out, goes to the halfway house, and he has some resentment for 1017. They probably weren't there, even though supposedly in his first interview he actually kind of did say he say Gucci was there? But regardless, when he gets out, he drops a hit. He's probably thinking these niggas didn't hold me down when I was locked down. They ain't funding nothing. They're not giving me nothing. Why they gonna eat at the table with me? And they probably approached him and said, "Yo, you know what? Gotti been doing some stuff for us. We want to leave. There's a beef between Gotti, long-standing beef between Gotti and Gucci. Gucci's like, nah. Gucci's like, yo, we could probably give you better terms, but we're not letting you out of this contract."
Can y'all hear this in the background?
Things about music contracts.
Let me turn it up a little bit.
Contracts is like, for example, a basketball contract. When you sign for 5 years, if you get locked up for 6 years on your second year in the contract,
can y'all hear this in the background?
Out of jail, that contract is
what up with it?
That contract is void. The contract is not. It's based on time, not actually deliverables that are
Sub. We almost to 500.
Music contracts, it's usually staggered based on deliverables.
Can y'all hear this in the background?
So yeah, you get locked up.
Let me know.
Essentially, the contract gets paused. So you don't come out and be like, nah, man, this contract was supposed to be done in 5 years. I'm free. So that's kind of a running theory.
Well, Pooh Shiesty didn't them know, even though that y'all robbed them and told them to sign the contract so they didn't get signed off, you still signed to them, bro. You still gonna be signed to them because of the predicament that you had them in to sign y'all off. You still gonna be signed to them regardless. So y'all basically did some dumbass shit for no reason.
Got right now, but just to let you know the dates, December 12th, he drops First Day Out, the music video.
Let me skip a little bit of this.
And a month later...
That's the dumb part about it. Y'all robbed the nigga so he could sign y'all off under his contract, but under predicament y'all had him in, y'all still basically gonna be signed to him regardless.
This guy, he a fire on this guy, and yo, he shot at those dudes, and nothing much comes out of it.
What you do?
Sometimes, obviously, the first thing is you don't want to cooperate, right? Because being a snitch is almost like a scarlet letter. The second thing is people don't want to wear that victim tag, that victim.
I don't want to see all that. Let's get to the point.
Once these 3 men were inside the recording studio, Williams Jr. and 8 co-conspirators, several of whom traveled from Memphis, Tennessee, executed a coordinated armed takeover.
Okay.
Hey, I'm on live.
Now,
I'm on live, Aiden.
I know. I'm trying not to pause it, but we got to break down all the details so we get the indictment. Once we get the indictment, it'll be on screen. Remember, this is a complaint. We're assuming that there's a grand jury indictment, but regardless, there's a complaint by a federal agent, and the AUSA is presenting this. So we would think that it would hit an indictment already, which means we're scouring pacer. We're going to see when it's released. Should be shortly, because they did a press conference. Let me just say this. Chat. This is another thing when you deal with like these gangster rappers. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd be nervous going to any business meeting where 8 people got to be in a room. If you got to do
and bro, I've been talking about that lately. Like, these damn rappers getting out and doing gangster shit, or whatever the fuck you call it. It really ain't gangster. Doing this stupid ass shit when they get out of jail instead of dropping music. Nigga drop FDO and stop making music and went to go rob a nigga. Like, damn, same thing Young Thug did. Got out, dropped one song, and then went to go fuck with Charleston White and the rest, and Gunna and the rest of them niggas. Like, drop some music. The fuck y'all trying to get out and point and make a point for? That shit's stupid. You got locked up. All right, what you get locked up for? That's the point of that. That's your point across right there. These rappers getting out of jail and trying to make a point. Young Thug did it. And now he fuck with Charleston White. Now he done fucked up. Now Pooh Shiesty, he done did it. He done fuck with Gucci Man. Never thought Gucci Man probably. I ain't think he'd agree to talk to the police and cooperate. Goddamn it, but I guess he is because. They say Gucci,
meeting
telling it all basically.
Individuals in and around the vicinity.
But how the fuck you gonna get out of prison and then go rob a nigga? This shit don't make no sense. I understand y'all want to be in the contract, but the predicament y'all put Gucci Man in, even though he did sign it off, guess what? You still under his label now. That shit don't matter. Just because he signed it off do not matter now. So even though you made him sign off, guess what? You still under his label. He still own you, nigga. If y'all never got caught, maybe it did, probably would have worked. But now that y'all got caught, you still under it. That's the sad part about it.
Let's do this over some coffee. Let's do this
That's
over
the
some
sad
drinks.
part about it.
The moment I see you pull up with the niggas, a pack of niggas, we're not talking business.
Let me get out there because this nigga ain't talking about nothing, bro. Hold on. Let me go to this other one. Y'all wait a second. Hold on. That's dumb as fuck, bro. Like, niggas getting out of prison. You already went to prison. You proved your point already of the reason you went to prison. Why the fuck? Eli, what up with it? Why the fuck you get out of prison? Why would you get out of prison and then go try to prove a point again?
DraftKings Sportsbook is live in Arkansas. You'll be so dialed into every play.
You could have did on some different shit. You didn't have to rob a nigga. You basically just kept it gangster and just kept it real and be like, hey. Either you sign this contract and let us go off the release.
U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas.
You can get up, it's gonna go up. But you robbed them, made it extra. You did some extra shit.
9 individuals, including well-known musical artists, kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas, Texas. 8 of the 9 were arrested yesterday in Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville. These individuals who are charged and arrested include Lontrell Williams Jr., also known as Pooh Shiesty, Lontrell Williams Sr., Rodney Wright Jr., also known as Big 30, Kadarius Waters, Demarion Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, Corday Johnson, Darian McDaniel, and Terrence Rogers has not been arrested yet, but will be soon.
And the crazy part is about it, bro.
Alleges that on January 10th of this year, 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas for a scheduled business meeting. Lontrell Williams Jr. arranged this meeting
I want y'all to hear this.
purportedly to discuss the terms of his recording contract with one of the victims.
And what's crazy, when Pooh Shiesty got out, everybody was questioning like, hey, is he still with Gucci? Or he done signed to, who that is? The one Glorilla signed to now. Damn, what's that nigga name? Yo Gotti. It was questioning like, is he signed to Yo Gotti? And what's crazy is, Yo Gotti and Gucci beefing. So right then and there, it already clicked in my mind. Something ain't adding up. Cause how you gonna switch sides and go fuck with Yo Gotti? He beefing with Gucci, but you signed to Gucci. So this shit makes sense. It's making a lot of sense right now.
As alleged, once these 3 men were inside the recording studio, Williams Jr. and 8 co-conspirators, several of whom traveled from Memphis, Tennessee, executed a coordinated armed takeover. As alleged, Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol and forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint. The remaining conspirators displayed firearms and robbed the other victims of Rolex watches, jewelry, cash, and other high-value items. One of the victims was actually choked by one of the defendants to the point of near unconsciousness. Defendant Wright barricaded the studio door with his body to prevent the victims from escaping. The ringleader of the conspiracy, Lontrell Williams Jr., was on home confinement at the time of the offense, as alleged, for a prior firearms conspiracy charge and conviction out of the Southern District of Florida. Towards the end of his prison sentence, he had been granted home detention. Part of the terms of his home detention
That
were
shit
that
crazy.
he would not commit another federal offense or possess a firearm. His father, Lontrell Williams Sr.,
And it adds up, though. It adds up. Like,
execute the federal kidnapping.
how you gonna go
as
fuck with
charged
how
in
you
the
gonna fuck with
complaint.
another? How you supposed to be signing
And
Gucci,
as
but you gonna fuck with your
described
Gotti,
further
you
in the
know?
complaint, within hours of leaving the Dallas studio, a number of the defendants were on social media displaying some of the items that appeared to be the jewelry that had been robbed from the victims. The charging document outlines some of the evidence, just some, establishing the defendants' roles in the federal offense. This is as follows: electronic monitoring data placing Williams Jr. at the offense location, which would put him in violation of his home detention conditions. Cell phone records and license plate reader data corroborating the coordinated travel of multiple defendants from Memphis, Tennessee to Dallas. Rental car records confirming Williams Sr. rented a
That shit
vehicle
crazy.
that was used by the group. Surveillance footage from the offense location, a nearby office supply store, and a hotel where several of the defendants stayed following
What's
the
up,
offense.
doo-doo butt? What up with it?
Fingerprint evidence as well that was recovered from the crimes.
And if you add this all shit up, you know, at first, Pooh Shiesty, everybody was questioning, was Pooh Shiesty, you know, signed to Yo Gotti, or is he still signed to Gucci? It all adding up now. You gotta think it's all adding up now.
Scene match
If you know, you know. Like, I thought Yo Gotti and Gucci were beefing. And all of a sudden, you see Pooh Shiesty on the other side. Like,
matching at least two of the defendants, social media posts by defendants displaying what appears to be stolen property just in the days following the offense, Greyhound bus records confirming the travel of multiple defendants from Dallas to Memphis the day after the offense. In this case, came to Dallas to conduct legitimate business, and they were met with firearms and violence as alleged in the charging document. This case should serve as a warning to others who believe that using violence and intimidation tactics to rob others in our community is a viable way to conduct business. I'm here to say that it is not, and that if you choose to do this, we will, together with our law enforcement partners here and the other ones in the Northern District of Texas, will bring you swiftly to justice. I want to thank the FBI Dallas Violent Crimes Task Force,
Dallas ain't gonna play with
the
you
FBI's
either. That's what's
Memphis
crazy.
Resident Agency,
I should
and
know
National
better than do
Field
that shit in
Office,
Dallas.
the Memphis Safe Task Force, the Dallas Police Department, the United States Attorney for the Western District of Tennessee, Michael Dunovit, and AUSA Greg Wagner, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Texas, my dear friend and colleague Jay Combs, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Tennessee, including my colleague Braden Busek, for their outstanding contributions in this multi-jurisdictional investigation and prosecution. I'd also like to highlight the extraordinary work. None of this happens without the extraordinary work of our AUSAs in this office, and I'm here to say we have the best AUSAs in the entire country. That includes AUSAs Robert Withers, Claire Demers, and my violent crime chief Jeremy Fugate. This case really underscores the importance of standing up for crime victims, no matter who they are or where they come from, and the incredible collaborative, investigative partnerships that we have, not only in the Northern District of Texas, but across the country, and we are all working together to make our country safer. So thank you for being here today, and I'll answer some questions after my colleague here speaks. But now I'm going to turn it over to him, and this is Jeremy Wright, who's the Dallas FBI Assistant Special Agent in charge.
Thank you, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. As Ryan said, my name is Jeremy Wright, Assistant Special Agent in charge for FBI Dallas. As United States Attorney Raybold said, we're here today to announce the arrest of several individuals in the Memphis and Nashville, Tennessee areas, as long as one here in Frisco, Texas. These arrests are the result
That's
of a violent
crazy.
kidnapping of
Texas out of everywhere. Texas, bro.
The majority of those arrested did travel from Memphis to Dallas to commit that offense.
Then Dallas.
Our office collaborated with multiple law enforcement agencies and other FBI offices to carry out this investigation that ultimately led to these arrests. So I'd like to thank the Dallas Violent Crimes Task Force, Dallas Police Department, the Memphis Safe Task Force, Memphis, Tennessee Police Department, and the Shelby County, Tennessee Sheriff's Department for helping with this investigation. Violent crime does remain a top priority for the FBI, and we dedicated significant resources from here in Dallas FBI, Nashville, Little Rock, Birmingham, and Atlanta FBI offices to investigate and successfully arrest these individuals. We remain committed to investigating violent crimes like these. No matter who you are, we will fight every day alongside our partners to make our communities safer.
Oh, look at my tripod. My arm hurt.
And we have time for some questions. If you would just identify who you were with and your name would be helpful. Yes, sir. Hi, Kevin.
It may be in the release because there's only sentence, but can you be more specific to who these victims are?
Every day is an order, guys.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Flowers are blooming, birds are singing, and the Honda Spring event is happening at McClarty Honda. All your favorite models are ready to test drive. Easy car buying, legendary customer service on Colonel Glenn and McClartyHonda.com.
TurboTax gets your refund fast. Like, really fast. Get your refund up to 5 days earlier than the IRS. Don't miss the deadline. File by 4/15.
I'll answer the last part first. Yes, it'll be in the complaint, and we're happy to get you a copy of that. It's now unsealed. It was off Dallas Parkway in Dallas, Texas, a music studio. That's what's identified in the complaint. As far as victims go, we won't get into, at this time, who the victims are or not.
Chase with the Dallas Morning News. Can you describe the injuries suffered by the 3 victims?
So one of the victims, and this is actually in the complaint, and we'll get you a copy as well. There's a photograph of the injury. Looks like there's some abrasions on the neck and arm.
These niggas corroborating like a motherfucker, boy.
One of the individuals that's been charged has not had his initial appearance yet, but agents are actively working to locate and bring him to court.
And I wanted to touch on that actually. Eric Bush on KRLD. Since there's one person you're still trying to get to come in, I guess it's on the press.
It ain't no getting way past this shit because you say you made him sign the contract. They can show to where you signed. They made you sign like to where he signed that contract. It's over with. You already signed to him.
The complaint has already been unsealed, and a number of these defendants have had their public hearing already, their initial appearance, and so it's already out there that this individual has been charged, and so that information is in the public record. But I trust that the agents will be able to identify this person and find them and bring them to justice. Of course, that person can turn themselves in immediately.
2 questions. This is Chase with the Dallas Morning News. So the initial incident happens in January 10th. We're here in April. Can you describe the timeline and the length of time, why we're talking about this now? Because it sounds like these arrests happened recently. And then the second part of that question, did all of the arrests happen yesterday, or were they happening over the span of time that we're talking about?
Yeah, good questions. I'll start with the last part. 8 of the 9 happened yesterday, and then we're still working on one more. And that was, again, a lot of those happened in Memphis, one happened in Nashville, and we're working now with our Georgia counterparts to get the last person brought to justice.
That's
Do you want to ask another question, follow up to that?
Actually, I forgot the answer. Come back after you.
Okay, and remind me of your first part, sir.
No, Aiden.
My phone's on 10%.
Yeah.
No, bro. Mine's on 20. Hold on. Give me like 2 more minutes. No, bro.
Well, that was one of the reasons I wanted to list off some of the evidence that has been uncovered to date. A lot of this was subpoena work, search warrant work, and things like that in order to develop the investigation. And so the agents here with me the agents out in the field, it takes a little bit of time to identify who did this offense and build a case so that we feel comfortable bringing the charges. So actually that's pretty quickly for a federal case of this gravity and this nature. And so I'm very proud of the investigative work, and it will continue from this office as well as our FBI and our local police department.
If convicted of these charges, these arrests, how serious are these crimes? What are these people facing?
They're facing a range, so there's no mandatory minimum in this case. It's a range of punishment, and it'll be in the province of the judge, whoever gets the case. But it could be from 0 all the way to life imprisonment. And as you know, a lot of what will guide what's called the sentencing guidelines will be the individual's previous criminal history, the fact that one of these individuals committed the offense while on home confinement, so actually serving a federal offense. Assuming that individual is convicted, that will be an aggravating factor for sure.
I was curious, I know you're being quiet so far on the victims here, but could you at least tell us, outside of them being locals in Dallas, were they aspiring artists? Are they known locally or even nationally? Can you at least tell us that?
I'm not going to get into the victim stuff at this time. I think that more will be coming out there that will help clarify, but I'm not at liberty at this stage of the investigation to disclose that.
And then, can you describe the operation to conduct all of those arrests? I imagine they were in different places. Maybe they all happened around the same time. I'm not sure.
I'm going to hand that one off to my colleague here, Jeremy Wright.
Yeah, thank you for the question. It requires a lot of partnerships across multiple jurisdictions to be able to conduct simultaneous arrests in a manner, to not alert other folks and to do it safely. So really it's just a coordinated effort. And fortunately, we have great relationships here locally with Dallas PD and our other partners, as well as other FBI offices have the similar relationships. Memphis is unique. They have the Memphis Safe Task Force there currently, which was kind of a help in a lot of this. So it's really just coordination and pre-planning.
And a follow-up to that, so were all of the arrests in Memphis, or?
No, Memphis, we had one in Frisco, Texas yesterday morning. The rest were in Memphis. And as the U.S. Attorney said, we're actively pursuing the final arrest.
Yeah. Did you have another question, sir?
I can't hear you, just mugshots, is everything out somewhere we can get them?
I think that becomes public record, but I'm not sure. If I could follow up with you right after, Catherine, if you would get to make sure that we get that information over there. Thank you for coming. If there are any further questions, I just want to underscore the importance here in Northern District of Texas of vigorously prosecuting violent crime. And a couple days ago, I did a press conference in Fort Worth, Texas, but it just highlights the collaboration. The state, local police are some of our best friends and best partners. Chief Como is a dear friend and partner of this office and has been fantastic for us, working with some of the best in the business, the FBI, and I'm just really honored to stand shoulder to shoulder with the men and women in my office. So again, we look forward to prosecuting this case vigorously, and if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to Catherine Miller. Thank you.
If you're a mom, then you know just how expensive it is to feed a house full of kids. I mean, I need an entirely different budget category dedicated just to the amount of money I spend on fruit snacks. And sometimes the grocery budget just can't keep up with my kids' crazy appetites. Luckily, if you take just 2 minutes to sign up, you can get spotted up to $200 through Chime without having to worry about any overdraft fee.
I'm Ryan Rabel, I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas. Thank you for coming. This week, 9 individuals, including well-known musical artists, kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas, Texas. 8 of the 9 were arrested yesterday in Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville. These individuals who are charged and arrested include Lontrell Williams Jr., also known as Pooh Shiesty, Lontrell Williams Sr., Rodney Wright Jr., also known as Big 30, Kadarius Waters, Demarion Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, Corday Johnson, Darian McDaniel, and Terrence Rogers has not been arrested